Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Bashful Hog and I am a huge Avatar The Last Airbender fan. And as we all know, the new live adaptation of Avatar The Last Airbender has been released. That means that there are new fans emerging, and boy, are they hungry for more. I love it. I love to see it. I've been a fan of Avatar The Last Airbender ever since the show premiered back in 2005. I was hooked immediately. I even remember when Netflix first started coming around, I would buy the DVDs that would get sent to your mailbox, and I would get them all the time, and maybe like a Bratz movie here and there, but whatever. I've been hearing conversations on the internet of both old and new fans of the franchise talking about how they had just finished the cartoon series and that they wish that there was more to the character's story. I am here to tell you, my sweet baby turtle ducks, that there is. And there is a plethora of comics, books, letters, short stories, even a cookbook. And yes, it's canon. So good. As well as more Avatar news, such as a new book coming in July about Avatar Roku. I already have that pre-ordered. A new movie coming in 2025 starring the original characters. It's gonna depict Team Avatar a little older, and I think it was between their late 20s, early 30s. Yes, it's gonna be animated. Talks of a new Earth Avatar named Genji, who comes right after Avatar Korra. And overall, Avatar Studios is coming to Paramount Plus. In this video, we're going to talk about what happens in Avatar after the gang defeated the Fire Lord, or the wannabe Phoenix King. If you know, you know. So go ahead, grab a drink, maybe even a snack, and let's talk Avatar. In the comic The Promise, we pick up right where we left off from the very last episode of Avatar The Last Airbender, with more context, of course. The gang was all celebrating the end of the 100-year war in the Earth Kingdom. This is where we see the Earth King Qa, our new Fire Lord Zuko, and Avatar Aang are already discussing the new moves they like to make in order to restore the nations. The main goal here is to remove all of the Fire Nation colonies that had developed in the Earth Kingdom during the war. This movement, perfectly named by Sokka, the Harmony Restoration Movement. During this comic, we get to see more of Team Avatar's iconic moments, and even venture more into Aang and Katara's relationship. Like, for example, their first official kiss that rudely gets interrupted by Sokka giving him the oogies. Later on, the team consisting of Sokka, Katara, Toph, Suki, Zuko, Momo, and Aang fly around on Appa, celebrating the announcement of the Harmony Restoration Movement, along with the citizens of the Earth Kingdom. And from now on, I'm going to be calling the Harmony Restoration Movement the HRM. So long. Thanks, Sokka. Everyone is enjoying themselves except for our favorite moody teen, Zuko.
That's rough, buddy.
Aang asks if he's okay, and he responds with the most cryptic request he has ever asked of his friend. If you ever see me go bad, end me.
Okay.
Aang, in fact, doesn't comply at first, but with a little encouragement from Katara, he promises Zuko this responsibility. Now, let's fast forward 1 year later. Zuko is seen tossing and turning in his sleep when he suddenly awakens in a paranoid-like behavior, heavily concerned that someone is trying to assassinate him. His guards try to assure him that he won't be, and he is accommodated in the safest part of the palace. We learn that Zuko has been showing these signs of paranoia for a long time now. But tonight, his feelings of one day being attacked comes to fruition. Just then, his two guards get knocked out and Zuko is left face to face with someone who clearly doesn't agree with his rule, yelling, "Down with the traitor! Down with the Fire Lord who betrays his own people!" Zuko and this maxed individual go head to head, until Zuko is able to unmask this threat. A girl named Corey, daughter to the mayor of the first Fire Nation colony called Udao. During this brief exchange, we learn that there may not be too many people who are looking forward to this movement. The next day, Fire Lord Zuko makes his way into the city of Udao, bringing Corey along in order to confront Mayor Morishita for the attempt his daughter made on his life. As the mayor is pleading and apologizing for what his daughter did, Zuko threatens to burn the colony to the ground, while Corey argues that the HRM would do that just fine. Zuko, being condescending, calls the colonials thick-skulled and that this movement is a means of peace. Taken aback, the mayor gets up from his pleads and tells Zuko how it is. Peace for who? All due respect, Your Majesty, my family has been here for generations. We may be Fire Nation citizens, but even your father wouldn't. He said, even your father wouldn't make such a obviously bad decision, something so stupid, to his own people by making them leave out of this. He said, oh, you're dumb. He gets triggered. All of that just goes over his head and he just snaps just by the mention of his father. He rushes the mayor, pins him up to a wall with a fire dagger in hand, and he's just like, I'm not my father. And then the mayor's just like, I know. Yeah, because your daddy wasn't a coward. Your daddy wasn't a traitor. We are then shown Aang, Katara, and Sokka off the coast of the Fire Nation, traveling by air and sea with other colonial citizens, relocating them into the Fire Nation. While unloading, they were soon stopped by Fire Nation soldiers and told to go back to the Earth Kingdom. This is because Zuko had decided to withdraw his support from the HRM. With the gang shocked, they hop on Appa and make their way towards the Earth Kingdom. As they are flying on our favorite sky bison Appa, they fly over Toph's Metal Bending Academy. And yes, there is a comic book on that too. Toph hears them fly over the academy, and she decides to run outside, using her earthbending to fling herself up in the air, landing perfectly in Appa's saddle. Now, how does she do that? I don't know. But she's Toph, the greatest earthbender to ever do it, so that's all the explanation needed there.
I am Melon Lord!
Surprised but elated, Katara, Sokka, and Momo greet her and fill her in on what's going on with Zuko and all the other stuff that's going on in Udao. Aang is there too, only he is meditating and seeking wisdom from his predecessor Roku. In this conversation, Aang is struggling with what reality may come to pass if he has to fulfill his promise to Zuko, questioning how he could possibly unalive his earthbending teacher and friend. But as past avatars like to do, Roku pretty much tries to guilt trip and not so subtly tell Aang how much he regrets not converting his own best friend during his time, Sozin. Yes, Sozin, the guy who started this war in the first place. In the end of this conversation, Aang decides to give Zuko the benefit of the doubt and talk to him. When the gang lands in Udao, they see a protest going on outside of the city chanting, Fire Nation out, Harmony now, with some familiar faces we all know and love, Smellerbee and Longshot from the Freedom Fighters. With Sokka noticing this and calling her a he again.
I'm a girl!
Smellerbee greets the Avatar and wants to know what the plan of attack is. Aang lets her know that he doesn't plan to attack at all, only to talk to Zuko. With the entrance blocked by Fire Nation soldiers, Aang whips open his glider, grabs Katara, and they fly over the city wall. When they landed, they were immediately stopped by more Fire Nation soldiers and warned to leave the city immediately. Aang calmly declines, leading the soldiers to attack him and Katara. While Aang is skillfully dodging each fire-filled blow, Katara, being the bad bee that she is, stops the soldiers from attacking by using her waterbending to freeze them up against the wall, expressing that the Avatar only wants to talk. While Katara is attempting to stop one last person, Zuko shows up behind her, restraining her by grabbing her wrist in a somewhat uncomfortable position, with her exclaiming that he is hurting her and that he needs to let her go. And knowing Katara, we already know that she'll already been hurt that boy. Zuko, unwilling to compromise, says, I'm hurting you? What do you think you're doing to my soldiers? My people. Aang, visibly upset, tells Zuko to let go of his girl. But Zuko says no. Not until y'all stop attacking my people. Aang takes a deep breath, using his airbending, blows a gust of wind in order to get Zuko to release Katara, causing Zuko to retaliate by throwing fireballs in Aang's direction. Aang loses his cool, convinced that Zuko is a lost cause, and remembering what Roku said, Aang goes into the Avatar state. But only for a moment. Katara quickly comforts Aang and reminds him to stay calm. He does and tries to apologize to Zuko for his outburst, but Zuko then cuts him off and says, I think we should talk. I think you can imagine how annoyed Aang was. And I love this scene because you really get to see how tired Zuko looks and how unwell he seems. And it's because of how much pressure he's been under ever since he became the Fire Lord, especially during this new era. Once the boys finally chill out, Zuko takes Katara and Aang around the city, where we learn that many Fire Nation families immigrated to this area over hundreds of years ago. Over time, the Earthbenders that were already there worked together with the Firebenders in order to produce the finest metalwork ever to be made, making Yudao one of the richest cities in the world. Zuko lets Aang know that he had full intent on removing the Fire Nation colonies in order to keep his part in the HRM. But something happened when he attempted to seize the mayor of Yudao. His wife intercepted using earthbending. Mayor Morishita from the Fire Nation married a woman of the Earth Kingdom and then had a pro-Fire Nation earthbending daughter. I love seeing the nations come together. The wife of Mayor Morishita asks Fire Lord Zuko to forgive her family and convinces him to stay in the city for a few days so he can understand their way of living. During this time, Zuko realized what he would be destroying if he continued his part in the HRM. Listening to this, Aang isn't here for it, because he still believes that in order to achieve harmony in all four nations, all of those nations need to be separated. Which is weird because he's literally dating a waterbender, but just whatever. Either way, they can't make any further decisions until they incorporate the Earth King. Outside of the wall, the protesters begin to get a bit antsy, waiting for the Avatar to get back from talking with our young Fire Lord. Sokka tries to calm him down, only for somebody to smack him upside the head with a rock, leading Toph to put the people in their place, threatening that if they don't calm down, she's gonna start dropping boulders. Literally. Right then and there, Aang and Katara land safely and fill the others in on what the next steps are, which include getting a meeting with the Earth King and telling the protesters to go home. Smellerbee thinks on this, and then she tells Aang that he only has 4 days to get those ash makers. Yes, ash makers. To get those ash makers out, or the freedom fighters will. The gang hop on Appa and make their way to the Earth Kingdom. Aang, in this moment, thanks Katara for stopping him from doing something he might have regretted while confronting Zuko. And Katara reminds him that he shouldn't fulfill his promise to Zuko in that state. Zuko, now home at the Fire Nation capital, gets surprised by May, his on-again, off-again girlfriend. She expresses that when something is going on with him, he needs to confide in her because they are each other's support system. She notices how tired he has been and how he needs proper security in order to feel more at ease. So she decided to call in a few friends. The one, the only, Kyoshi Warrior. That night, Zuko, again, tossing and turning, awakens in a cold sweat, full of panic, but the Kyoshi warriors confirm that no funny business is going on. With Suki trying to assure Zuko that everything is fine and he should go back to bed, Zuko instead decides to go on a little walk to clear his mind. But where does our troubled prince decide to go? to see his daddy. Zuko walks in with a fresh pot of tea in hand, lowers his head, and asks him for advice. And that's the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender: The Promise Part 1. How did you guys feel during that? What do you guys think of that storyline? I kind of liked the idea of the harmony restoration movement, but once we started really getting into the POV of the people that it's truly going to affect, I kind of put like the brakes on. I was just like, "Urgh." I guess they kind of don't need to remove them because they've been there for a long time. Like, I think even in the comic, Zuko says like these colonies are older than you, Aang. Like, they've been here. But I know somebody's gonna say, but he's actually 112. Yes, but he's like 12. At least in this comic, it's like a year later, so he's at least 13, 14. I plan on doing parts 2 and 3 soon. This is a really good comic, but what I'm really excited is the next one that we're going to be talking about. What happened with Zuko's mom. And that is a good ass story. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe. I hope to make more content like this, pretty much on Avatar: The Last Airbender or any other cartoons that I love. I'm also a big book reader, so I'll definitely be sharing with you guys some of my favorite reads so far. And yes, a lot of them incorporate Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm not ashamed because those books are fire. And I truly can't wait for the Roku one. I'm ready. I'm just ready. I hope to discuss more things about Avatar: The Last Airbender down in the comments. Let me know if you guys like this format. Yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.